Hey everybody, it's Tim from the Hair Curler Chronicles, and I am sitting here in the editing room doing another segment that we had with Tim Perry. Hey, does yield credit, Ravencoin, Aave, Cache, and Union mean anything to you? Well, in the world of altcoins, I guess they do because they're pretty neat to listen to their purpose of what they can do for you as an investment. Anyway, we're not licensed, we're not professionals. We're just going on a simple conversation that we had with our friend Tim Perry and just passing it on to you. Hey, you like it so much? Tell a couple of friends to watch it as well. Have them and you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and smash the little bell so you know when we're releasing our next video. Also, listed below in the description is a link to Bitbuy. And that is where you can go and set up an account in order to start to purchase ETH in order to dabble in the coin altcoin world, if you will. Enjoy, because Nancy and I sure did, and I'll come back at the end of the video. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hair Curler Chronicles. This is another informative session coming up for you with Tim Perry. He is he's the guy for the altcoins, man. He just off camera, we've been doing a lot of talking and stuff, and we shouldn't have done that because now the head's just going wild with everything that's in that world, and it really is a world, and he's got a lot of good insight. So welcome back, Tim.
Okay, so I have to say that we talked to Tim about a week ago, I think, or maybe even longer than that. And after our meeting with him the first time, I couldn't sleep. I was so darn excited about what he said about the altcoins and things. And if I was excited about Bitcoin before, I'm even more excited by what he told me about altcoins. So the last time we talked to you, Tim, we were talking about I was going to ask you what your top 5 altcoins are and why. And maybe again, remembering that everybody is like us, that we're the normies. We don't even know what we don't know. But I'd really love to know what your top 5 altcoins would be.
Yeah. So my number one by a long mile right now, just on, impact versus possible gains off this coin, is called Union Finance, and the ticker is UNN. And basically it's an insurance platform. Also will have lending, and you'll be able to collateralize your NFTs. So you could collateralize a really luxury, baseball card or something like that, and basically use that to get loans. You could do stuff like this, but also the platform for the insurance is going to be, in my opinion, the next massive trend in crypto, because as the normies and more people adopt into crypto, it's safe to say they are going to want to be have some foundation that makes them a little more comfortable in the wild world of crypto. So while there is multiple insurance coins out there, doing my own due diligence, I definitely feel that Union is light years ahead of them. And yeah, their product is actually just releasing the next 3 weeks. So it's well known in crypto that if you get in before, if you're on the ground floor before any of their stuff becomes actual, materialization, that's where you make your big gains. So that would be my lottery ticket. So, and then number 2 would be.
Oh, wait. I have a question. Just a second. I have a question about that. So if I wanted to do more research about Union Finance, do I go to a website to look that up? Like, how do you find out more information about Union Finance?
Good question. So you can obviously you can just type in Union Finance, and it's not the easiest way to go about it. Basically, crypto has quite the following on Twitter. It's called Crypto Twitter. Essentially has its own little subsection within Twitter. And you go in, and any of the tickers that, say, I'm about to mention, you would put a $ in the search before the ticker. You put that, and then out comes a lot of information. Every coin has their own Twitter page in which they provide you with information that you can go read up on what they intend to do. They also have their own chat rooms, their own decentralized chat rooms through a thing called Telegram. So you can go in and actually talk to multiple developers and get a feel for it. And then YouTube is your friend as well. But your main thing is Twitter, because that can help you navigate to the coin's main pages and do, due diligence. They'll have, their team members and their LinkedIn. So then you can go to LinkedIn and obviously see if they actually got the chops to put out the ambitious, stuff that they're talking about.
Interesting.
Okay, so when we talk about, let's continue with Union for a second. So if we talk about that one, what are we talking price point wise? It's like March 1st. So what would that price of a Union coin be?
Right. So I got in it right when it came out in late December I got in at 1.6 cents. And then I've been buying as late as about 4.5. It's sitting at about 6 cents today. And like I said, this is before it hasn't materialized into anything. So it's all speculative. But obviously, if you do your due diligence, this coin has a team of 25 people, all with, when you hear them talk, that they know what they're talking about. A lot of partnerships are already formulating, stuff like that. So if you're doing if you're weighing the risk versus reward, all that matters now is if this product comes out, if it delivers on what it says, then that you've got something probably pretty heavy, as long as Bitcoin, because Bitcoin can ruin the whole party for everything.
What do you mean by that? Because if Bitcoin tanks, everything else is going to tank. Is that what you mean by that?
Right. So between 6,000 and 8,000 cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin holds 60% of the dominance of the volume of the 1.5 trillion, total of the market cap of the entire crypto sphere. So everything rises and falls on crypto's tide, or on Bitcoin's tide, sorry. So if Bitcoin goes sky high, everyone buys back into Bitcoin because they're afraid of losing money. And then when it drops, if Bitcoin drops 5%, you can expect to see many altcoins drop 10 to 15, if not more. So in 2017, to give you an example though, the Bitcoin dominance dropped down to 30%. And you had a coin like Binance, BNB, which is quite big now. It went from 9 cents to $23 in the period of about 2 months.
Holy Toledo.
The crypto people like to call it alt season. And it's this mythical thing now. And basically alt season is like, basically, in my opinion, when the dominance starts dropping below, if it drops below 40%, you're looking at a lot of these coins getting a lot more of that influx flow of the money that was once in Bitcoin flowing into all the altcoins. And if you're in the right coin, man, your whole life could change overnight.
You mean 40? You mean if the altcoin, or if the coin drops 40% of the total market cap?
If the Bitcoin dominance drops, so it's at 60 right now. So if it drops below 40, that's when the party really starts, in my opinion. Yeah. A lot of people will say 50. Everyone's got their own opinion on what the alt season. Some people think alt season's already happened because coins are already starting to do, like Raven coin that I'm about to mention. It's gone from a penny to 30 cents. It topped out at in the last 3 weeks. So.
Okay, so I'm following that one. So UNN for Union Finance. Sorry, I keep looking down at my purple book of ideas. Right. So UNN is your first pick.
So my second pick is Aave, AAVE. This is a blue chip kind of crypto, if I could call it that. It's obviously started out tenths of a pennies. It is now worth obviously hundreds of dollars. Well, it kind of did this reverse split in a sense, so it wouldn't be actually $100, it'd be worth the equivalent of $550. But it is a loaning protocol. It's backed by some brilliant minds. They have intentions of eventually being able to do mortgages through the blockchain. So they have regulations with the government of England. They're pretty established. So it's a safe bet that if you get into Aave, you're going to most likely make some money and not lose it if you just hold for a couple of years.
Okay, I like that one. I like blue chip things.
I'll do another dark horse. Yield Credit, YLD is the ticker. And I say, if anyone's listening to this, and actually, please understand that there are multiple tickers for YLD. So make sure it is Yield Credit, not anything else. Mind you, the other couple of them aren't bad. But anyways, Yield Credit is doing what Aave has done, but for the average Joe like you and I. Essentially, Aave has become what they like to call a whales game. Only people with a lot of money are able to use the Aave platform and make big money, but obviously holding on to Aave still makes us money. Whereas if we wanted to get into this loaning and borrowing game where we could be our own lenders, yield credit is going to be a peer-to-peer lending. It's got a good tokenomics, which means how the coin is structured to obviously preserve the appreciation of the price over time. The interest is like locked in for us. Yeah, it's just, a lot of people are stoked for it. And another thing about it is there was a coin back in the early 2017, 2018 that you could already see the concept of lending was going to be a huge trend. I mean, it's a big trend even in our normal day with credit cards and credit systems. So you know, common sense says these are the things you should get your money in. So this coin that Yield Credit took its code originally from did like multiple, like we're talking like 100 times its money in like the period of a few, like 10 days or 20 days.
Wow.
I can't remember exactly. Could be exaggerating a bit, but it just was nuts. And then it had a bug though in the coding, which was its downfall. So these new guys that have taken over the code, religiously like gone through it, scoped it, you know, just 2 days ago, they released that, hey, the platform's gonna be ready to go this week. All the bugs have been, you know, it's called an audit. They got audited. There's no bugs, nothing like that. Coin's already up 70% just on that news. So when the platform comes out, expect that coin, if the product works, to do multiple X's very fast.
And again, what would the price of that one be, for instance?
So this, when I speak of tokenomics, you have to kind of look at a coin structure. So Bitcoin is 21 million coins. So therefore you need, you know, X amount of buyers to move the price against, you know, less sellers. Something like Yield Credit only has about 600,000 coins, I believe. So, I mean, that's not a lot to move that. So,
is that, sorry to interrupt, is that so, like, there's only going to be 600,000?
Actually, it's a deflationary system. So some of these coins work on deflation. So
Bitcoin's deflationary, right?
Bitcoin is deflationary, definitely in the sense that like it can't go up, it can't go down. But there are actually coins now that have what are called burn mechanisms. So as you know, like the product gets bigger, or like sometimes if people are buying and selling that coin, the coin is structured to actually take some of those coins out of the circulation forever, and it goes to an address that can never be found. There's no like signatures that people can get into it. You can view it on the blockchain. So that means that a coin, not only is it depreciating, you know, not only does it have a deflationary mechanism, it is literally going downward. So picture something like Bitcoin losing 21 million coins, eventually coming down to like 21 million. I worked for a coin called Taco, and it was just a game. And you'd play the game, and the more people that played the game and stuff, the more the price would come, or sorry, the more the circulation of the coin came down. So in August of 2020, the coin circulation was 15.5 million, and now it's at 7 million. And it's not even been a year. So there are coins, if you find the right coins and you say, wow, it's got this kind of like structure, it's also got utility, you put all those things together, and then you see the right pickings for, you know, a rocket ship, basically.
Huh.
It's basically like, it's Aave on steroids for the average Joe, to me. But will it have the, you know, the better developers and stuff? This is what you take your speculative gamble on, right?
Right. And did you say at the very beginning, what's the approximate price of that right now?
So the starting price that I originally got in on was like 11 cents. I then sold a little higher, got back in when I saw the commitment by the developers. So I got back in at about 50 cents, and it's sitting at about $1.10 today. Or sorry, 100 to 110. Sorry. It's wow. $52. But it's because, and you think, and like I said, people always get very scared by hearing $52. I can't afford that. Well, no, something like Dogecoin that is at like 5 cents or 6 cents, I haven't looked at it in a while, it has unlimited amounts of circulation, like trillions of coins. So you have to move this market a lot harder to get it to move and have insane amounts of volume, whereas something like Yield Credit, just you know, a few buys can make it go sky high, but obviously a few sells can bring it down. But the you know, the odds of it to move multiples are far easier due to the circulation.
I think the next one you're going to give was the one I got really, really excited about. So let me just see if it is the same one that you were talking to us about.
Yeah, it's my personal favorite, like, you know, altruistic, not about the money, just about the tech, is Ravencoin, RVN. Basically the securitization of anything that you want, you know, securitize any tokens. You could see, eventually expect to see stock markets move their stocks into securitizing their stocks. Obviously, I've used an example with you guys before. If you are in a community and you want to support the community, and there's a local, you know, mom and pop shop, general store, and they're a fledgling, either starting to go down and have troubles with money, the community could then, they could securitize their general store through Ravencoin, issue essentially shares, so coins. You could then trade it on a market for these securities, and I could, and the community could all own a share in that general store. And obviously we could sell and buy, and you could do that with the rainforest. You could do that with anything. So, and yeah, it's essentially what I think Bitcoin was always meant to be, because the guy who or girl or entity that created Bitcoin had the intentions to have Ravencoin type integrations within it, but it was too, I don't know if it was too complicated at the time or what.
So it's sort of like crowdfunding.
One thing I wanted to add to your crowdfunding before is, though, the one thing about crowdfunding is we still have the middleman, right? Like in Indiegogo or whatever, they still take a percentage of it from you, right? So it's definitely crowdfunding, but it's crowdfunding without that middleman. So it's like, you know, Uber Eats to restaurants, right? They take so much portion. Well, at least now everyone's, you know, and then this mom and pop shop, they don't have to go it alone anymore, right? And it's that synergistic thing that would happen, that I'm sure if you are invested in this general store, you are going to also shop there, because by shopping there, you're increasing the value of the mom and pop shop too. So it's this synergistic thing where the whole community's in with each other and helping each other.
I kind of feel like what happened with GameStop sort of speaks to the Raven thing, because on some levels, that community of users sort of, maybe I'm wrong on this, and maybe I'm going down a rabbit hole.
Right, but I'll let you finish.
Right, so that it was like the community users circled around there and said to the hedge funds, "You're not going to take our guy down. We're gonna keep this unto ourselves, and we're gonna support this." That's the way I looked at it. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, so the ironic part is, I found out about this plan to go after GameStop in September, far before any, you know, the media was making it out to be just this flash in the pan deal. But like, I was actually found out through a think tank group that I've been with, and it's the brightest minds I've ever seen too, that are all about Ravencoin. And all these guys are originally ex-Wall Street guys that are obviously like the good of Wall Street, you know, that saw through, you know, illegal naked shorting and obviously the other nefarious things that Wall Street and the SEC have been, you know, screwing over the average Joe for all these years. Even Bitcoin was the way out. You know, there's a senator who has been a Wisconsin Wall Street, but for crypto, and obviously what will be probably one of the mainstays will be Ravencoin.
Oh, I love it. I love the thought process of Ravencoin. That wasn't my favorite, but I do remember you talking about that now.
What's happened is this whole GameStop thing has brought eyes to Ravencoin, because the best, you know, best way to rebel against Wall Street is Ravencoin, in my opinion.
Okay, well, we're going to get some of that too. All right, so the last one, which is the one I think I'm really excited about. I hope, but you go now.
Well, it hasn't changed my top 5, which is Kasha. Ticker is CAS. And essentially it is what you guys are kind of using, which is BlockFi. But imagine physical branches of these, you know, essentially a little crypto bank all around the world. They've got regulations in the United States, England, India is their big market that they're going for. you name it. And they're going to have lending, loaning, accounts where you can switch from crypto to fiat with no issues. They'll have better interest rates than any standard savings account in any normal, banking system. So you'll get, I think, between 8 and 10%, similar to your BlockFi. But basically, it's just the BlockFi idea amplified, and obviously has all the regulation. They're partnered with MasterCard. Obviously, they have plans to do credit cards, debit cards, stuff like that. So a physical manifestation in which a granny can go in and start up an account and dabble her feet in crypto with a very simple method is going to be massive.
So when you say dabble in crypto, are you referring to dabbling in crypto by involving themselves with Cache?
Yeah, or
can they? Is this something that leads them into buying different cryptos?
I mean, I've always said that Bitcoin and Ethereum are a gateway drug, right? I mean, once you get your feet wet, then you want more. But obviously, the granny can go in, and obviously she will start. She probably won't go further, but like she will start with a Bitcoin or Ethereum. But Cash will accept obviously the Indian currency, the pounds, all that. Yeah, the ruble or the rupee. I always get it wrong and then forget. But yeah, so you'll be able to go in, treat it like a standard account, and then someone is there to help you, right? So she's not on her own. She can actually go in and physically get help. The way I'm talking to you guys, you can now go in and have a seat with someone who is paid to sit there and kind of guide you a bit and help you in, get your feet wet.
I think that's what got me excited about it, was because it's something familiar. A lot of some of the other stuff that you've talked about, I think I get it in theory, but it's still theoretically out there. But physical places where I could, it's familiar, but that's old school.
No, but
50-year-old thinking.
I don't even think that's a 50-year-old thinking. Everyone to this day, I mean, it should be tangible. Everything should be tangible that to essence has value. I mean, obviously, if the internet goes blank tomorrow, then what's your crypto worth, right? Now, luckily, though, not to scare people, but then you do have now the dark web, and you have decentralized routers popping up and decentralized Twitters that are all based off the blockchain. So it's going to disrupt everything. So then you won't have to worry about those. All these problems that you like. Remember when we first all started on the internet, it seemed like a hieroglyph, and then it got easier. Things weren't as difficult. That will happen with crypto as well.
Maybe that's what Musk is up to with his internet.
It's very possible. You never know what that.
I wouldn't put it past a little delight.
He's cryptic.
No, but
I never thought of that. And so once you said that, it's like, holy cow! Is this what this guy has in his back? Is this his end game? Is to decentralize communication? And it's like no more Facebook, no, and on traditional.
Well, and you just got me going, because he wants his hands on like satellites too. Like,
yes,
he's fighting with some other guy on satellites. So you own your own satellite, then anything's possible.
It is sort of mind blowing, because I do remember when the internet first came out, I was very, very, very leery of buying anything on the internet. Right. Like it almost felt like you were, because how many of us got scammed? Our credit card got scammed on some level. And so you wouldn't even, it never occurred to you, well, then there was the PayPal thing, but you weren't even sure about that. Do I trust PayPal? Not sure I even trust PayPal. What does this even mean? Now somebody else has got my credit card information. And now through the pandemic, everybody was buying everything online. Like in a nanosecond, we were forced to change, and we changed.
I mean, should we be trusting the internet as much still? I don't think so. But that's obviously, and should you trust crypto wholeheartedly? Either no, but at least crypto has this, distributed ledger, obviously, which is what Bitcoin is. You can follow everything, right? And if you're smart and you're vigilant, then none of the negative things should happen to you. You shouldn't get hacked. You shouldn't have all these issues. But, I revert back. You learn from history. This is what I've been telling people about crypto forever. Remember the internet? It wasn't too long ago. Remember how we were sort of it? Remember how Amazon went up 95% or, went up tons and then dropped 95% and everyone said the internet was dead and then it came back and went nuts. Well, this is what has happened from 2017 till now. So if people don't learn from history, in my opinion, this is the last run for crypto for people to make crazy gains in a short amount of time before some regulation comes in. And also, the more people that adopt to it, the less you'll have these insane pumps, right? So this is why I've advocated to people who want to listen and stuff that the time is kind of now.
And there's one last thing I want to touch on for our little session today, and that was the other thing that you talked about with us, and this was the part that Tim and I were had a mind, was the LP tokens.
Well, what'd you think? Hey, did you like that little teaser about at the end when Nancy says, now about the LP tokens? Well, we got to have the hook for the next video. You know what I'm saying? The only way you're going to know is to tell two friends. Well, no, that's more for us. To subscribe to the channel, hit the like button so that the algorithms and everything go across the YT network and everyone knows about Bitbuy and Uniswap and LP tokens and yield and Aave and my head hurts. It was so much information, so much great information. And I want to thank Tim Perry for taking the time to talk to us normies or whatever we're called in the video. Remember folks, Nancy and I and Tim, the other Tim, we're not licensed. We're not professionals. We're just armchair athletes in this stuff. And you have to do your own due diligence and you have to invest only what you can afford and be responsible of what you do. All we're doing is we're just having chats and putting it out there to the public and hoping that people would like it and just see what's going on and we can create some kind of little community. So thanks again. Below in the description is going to be a link to Bitbuy so you can set up an account there. As well as I will in the next video after we talk about the LP tokens, I will put in a link for Uniswap because I'm going to actually go through the process of Bitbuy and then purchasing a token that Tim has mentioned in Uniswap. So thanks for tuning in and stay tuned for more great crypto adventures.